Welcome to On the Road to Rock. This is such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
It's fall here. I'm sure you're joining us from one of my favorite cities in the U.S., beautiful Santa Monica, California. I'm here in Kansas City, so you're a couple hours behind me, sir. How you doing this morning so far?
Well, I'm on my fourth cup of coffee and I'm wading through a glass of water and I'm trying to get myself together, but I'm pretty good. I'm really actually pretty good. I'm in the studio. So I got a day off today, but I'm making a new record. So, I'm busy.
Well, you've been keeping busy, and I kind of want to talk about that because you've really been productive, especially, things kind of shut down, COVID's going on, and releasing some new material. Of course, the single Not Dark Yet, which I don't know what it is about that song, John, but it really kind of spoke to me in a time that you're kind of looking for some positivity in the world. And that song kind of did it for me. It's not dark yet, maybe some hope. Maybe the song to me has sort of a glimmer of hope that, things aren't always so bad. I think that maybe that's what that song means to me.
Well, it's a Bob Dylan song, and you'd have to ask Bob.
Of course,
I don't know. I would never try to explain a Bob Dylan song, but I covered it for its emotional range, and obviously it's. I take it as kind of Bob's measuring the time left, and his life. It's Dylan. Dylan. It's a beautiful melody. It's an existential kind of blues. So I didn't think too much about it. I just played the song like any song, and our version is an hour and 18, a minute and 18 seconds longer than his. So we did it in a more it's just the way I did it. It's just how it's spoke to me. But I hope if Bob hears it somewhere down the line, he has a slight smile. He might agree with some of what I've done. You never know.
I would say so. It definitely does the song more than justice, John. It's great. But business is really getting ready to pick up for you. And I think this is important because you're getting ready to hit the road. And
Friday,
quite a few dates. So this is like kind of the calm before the storm for you. Cause you head out here this weekend and dates in Florida, and you even got some dates coming up with two of my favorites with Pat Benatar and Neil Geraldo.
Yeah.
That's going to be so much fun. Just how good does it feel in a general sense to get back out here and to be doing this? It's just got to feel really good how long has it been? When's the last time you were on stage?
Well, no, we've been out for the last 2 months, maybe 2.5, doing spot gigs. We did a couple of private shows for some very wealthy people that hired us to do a private show. And that got us back into it. And then the regular gigs started coming in. Between now and mid-December, we have like 22 dates and adding more as we go. But it is like remembering what you like most about your life, to get out there and actually play music and meet people and communicate. I think with the lockdown, it brought to mind how much I enjoy being around other people and the exchange that we all need. And music, to play music live is so, it just lightens everything. Even, to be on the road, to be traveling to the next show, stopping into a coffee shop somewhere or loading up the guitars after the performance, sound checks, the crew. But we get to meet people, get to meet the audience, and it's really been wonderful. I'm very glad. But, it's a lot to take on. You forget sometimes. You have 1.5 years off, and it's like you put your feet up and you order a pizza and you're watching a lot of TV, but it's like a shock coming back out, but it's a good one.
The way you said that and putting it kind of so, simply with regards to the little things that you experience on the road. I don't know if you saw Mick Jagger recently I think they were in Tennessee and maybe in Nashville. They had this kind of organic moment where I think Mick just went into kind of a hole in the wall bar and started singing karaoke. Yeah. People didn't even recognize. It's just like that. I think for a lot of people, someone like him, someone like you that have just been out there and done this so long, it's like you maybe didn't take in the little moments, and now you're able
Yeah.
to kind of recapture that a little bit. That's really,
Yeah.
I thought that was meaningful.
Yeah, I thought that was great myself. I mean, Jagger's a very human kind of guy, and he likes to socialize, I think. There's a picture of him stood at a bar with a bottle of beer outside,
Yeah.
and it's kind of nice, to be Jagger and go out anywhere is it could be a problem, but you have to engage with people, you have to engage in life. But those small moments, you stop into a roadside cafe and you talk to the waitress, the guy that's doing the monitors at the show walks up, and maybe you've met him 4 years ago, or a stranger walks up and says how much they like your music or whatever. It's all what life is, it's those small moments. It isn't necessarily the show, it's the whole day.
Oh, that's so well put. And I mentioned at the beginning, doing some shows with Pat Benatar and Neil
Yeah.
Giraldo.
Yeah.
How well do you know Pat,
Oh.
and kind of what's the history there? Because
Yeah.
he's tremendous. I mean, one of my favorite singers of all time. She's
Now, they're great people. Neil produced my first solo album in New York in 1981. And we've been friends, for such a long time. And we're on a lot of dates with them. Patty's just great. She's singing really well. And the rhythm section, Mick and Chris, they're just nailing it. Neil's just completely in the moment. I mean, he's great, a lot of positive energy. When you're in a situation with people like that, it's really a joy to show up. You get to the gig, and all the people that are in the crew, and it's just great. I mean, everybody's like looking forward to the show. There's great energy, and everybody's got hits. It's like it's a joy. We're really looking forward to getting back with them. We've been out with them. We've probably played about 5 or 6 gigs over the last 2 months. I don't know, but yeah, it's a good bill. I think people should come to the show.
Oh, no question about that. And I want everybody to make sure they go check out the website for all the dates. John Waite World.com. Worldwide.com.
Come on,
man,
come on.
It's 11:30. John, you think I'd be a little more with it than that? Yes, John.
Wait, it's 9:30 here, my friend.
Right. I can just put myself on California time because that's where I'd rather be anyway. I mean, it's been like 90 degrees here in Kansas City, and it's we usually get all the seasons, but I guess maybe not this year. We're not going to get our fall.
Yeah, no, it's a strange thing. I mean, the global warming thing is kind of just really now come. I mean, everybody's noticing now. I mean, New York downtown getting flooded. I mean, tornadoes, droughts, fires, the sea being polluted, the air being polluted, the food being. It's time to get it together. I think we're all feeling it now because of the weather. That's the first thing we'll feel, no matter where we are, a change in the weather. But it's time to really address that. Anybody that's got an ambition for their family, their children, the future, we can't do it without the planet Earth, and we should take more care of it.
Absolutely agree there. John, people like yourself that travel around, that have been around as long as you have, you hear different stories about how people have discovered your music. Or for me, growing up in the 80s, because I'm only 37, but for me, and I think for probably a lot of people, it was soundtracks. For me, it was Vision Quest. That's how I ever heard the song Change, which I didn't realize had been re-released at that point, as it came out in 1982. But why do you think that your music was such a great fit for so many classic soundtracks, whether it be Days of Thunder, Vision Quest, True Romance? I mean, so many of your songs are synonymous with these huge hit films in the 80s and 90s. And why do you think that your music became such a great fit for that?
That's a good question, because I've managed to get some songs in some major movies, but I mean, I honestly don't know. I think maybe the director, like Tony Scott, he asked me to write a song for actually Jim Marza, who was doing the soundtrack for True Romance, the Tarantino movie. Tony Scott filmed it, and I think those kind of people have an awareness of visuals, and obviously a lot of things. They recognized a lot of things, but I think pulling me into those movies was, it's a watershed thing. It's like, I mean, being asked to write a song for a scene in True Romance, somebody rings you up and says, "You want to write a song?" And you say, "Well, what is it?" And they say, "Well, it's for Quentin Tarantino, Tony Scott." And you go like, "Of course I do." It's going to be a classy thing. So they sent me a video. In those days, they had video of a scene. And me and Mark Spiro, my good buddy, we wrote a song. And the demo that we wrote became the actual master. It was so inspired just watching the movie. Maybe that's got something to do with it. Maybe, I mean, I love film, and when I look at something like that, I step into it. But to meet Tony Scott and shoot the video with Tony Scott in Monument Valley, he put me on top of a mesa. It's like 6,000 feet high or something. The mittens, they call them, they see him in the John Waite movies. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah. He dropped me on top of that in a from a helicopter, and then dive bomb me, and I'm up this mesa, and I'm bad with heights, and then we got in the helicopter, and there's me hanging out at the back of the helicopter, with Tony filming me, singing this song In Dreams. I mean, that was the best experience I had with writing for a movie. I really was moved by. It's a great movie, True Romance, and Tony was such a great guy, and just to be involved in something that Tarantino did, it's just a great thing.
Well, you give credit to the directors and producers of these films, but I think it's also because your music is so wide-reaching, it's so digestible by the general public, right?
Yeah, I hope so, but you don't want to be too commercial. You don't want to be too pop.
Interesting.
It has to have credibility, and you can't just chase a hit. I think, actually, from my point of view, that there's a top 10, which is usually raving pop music, and then there's the rest of the top 10, which is probably the better music. You can't write for the charts. You can't. You have. I mean, you can talk about Dylan, and you talk about this song, and you think, well, Dylan doesn't write pop music, But every time you hear a Dylan song, there's a hook in there. It's the weirdest thing. The thing I always try to avoid is the thing that Dylan can do, falling off a log. And it's commercial, but it's got this tremendous message that comes with it. So there's a real craft to making legit music. Yeah.
And that stands the test of time, certainly. And you, in 2006, I believe, did a duet with Alison Krauss with "Missing You." Obviously, that song is timeless. It's so many things. What was it like for you, kind of revisiting it with her, and sort of the arrangement that you were able to do with her to sort of bring it more into her world, so to speak? Yeah. But I thought it still was tremendous.
Oh yeah, I mean, that was a major moment for me to work with Alison, and we ended up on the Opry together, which was a massive thing for me coming from England, but to be on stage with my band and Alison, and wow, I mean, she's the real thing. She walks the walk. She's a beautiful human being and a magnificent talent, and it was a watershed moment for me to step into that world. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's completely timeless, and I think just introduced the song to a whole new generation of people.
Yeah.
And makes it tremendous. I got to ask you, John, because I'm such a fan of Dick Clark, and just growing up and watching American Bandstand. You were on there in 1984, I think, for the first time. And what was that like? Because I just watched a little clip of that interview on YouTube, and just seeing how you interacted with him, and like how it just brought me back to what it must have been like for you coming to, from the Babies into your solo act at this point, and you were really kind of hitting your stride. You just released Missing You and all. What was that like, interacting with Dick Clark on that show?
Well, just fantastic. I mean, he's an institution, I mean, he looked like a very manicured talking head, a good looking guy, Mike, but behind that, he was really knowledgeable about music, and he really did take a tremendous interest in the artist. and had a lot to do with launching a lot of different acts. You know, he was a heart and soul guy, and it was great to meet him. But I got to meet all the people like Mike Douglas and Dinah Shore and Merv Griffin, all those people. You know, 1 minute you're in the wings, and the next minute you're on national TV being interviewed live by somebody, and they're asking these really intense questions about music. You think you know what's going to come next for those people. But the other day I watched Johnny Carson. I watched a clip of Johnny Carson, and man, is he funny. I mean, he's so dry. And those people, they're like the Mount Rushmore of TV. You know, they had this brain. They had this, a lot of the late night talk show people have that now. But it's like a chain of command, you know. It's just so authentic. But it was great to meet them and great to talk to them. I had a huge respect for him. Yeah, I really did.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about Bad English, who
you
sure. guys had some great success, and of course you were able to rejoin with Jonathan and Ricky. But Neil Sean and Dean Castronovo. Now, Dean Castronovo is someone I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
And he's back in Journey now. And I always thought his voice is so underrated. Not only is he one of my favorite drummers, I think he has a great voice, and, you know, just that magical little thing. I mean, I guess the 80s was an era of super groups, if you will. You can call it whatever you want, but Bad English, you guys really hit on all cylinders there. And it's kind of what was that like for you, looking back on it, kind of reforming with the,
it was a great time. I mean, it was like fresh. And I think the first year was a lot of fun. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. We were touring all the time. We'd made a great record. Talking about Dean, to play with Dean was great because he's such a great drummer. And Neil, I mean, those two could play anything backwards.
Yeah.
And so as a singer, when Dean would come in, it was like hearing music that you couldn't not dance to. My whole body would be like moving as I was singing, because I was dancing, you know, in my own way on the mic, you know. But he's that good. God bless Dean, you know, he's really great and a great guy. It was a lot of fun. And I think after about 13 months, it started to kind of get weird because there was a lot of pressure to make a second album. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to repeat myself and do just the same album again. So I was pushing to do something a bit different. We did our best, but I think it was too early to make a second record, and it just hit the wall. But I mean, like I say, the first year was, just amazing. Going to Japan and touring America and having a lot of fun, really.
Absolutely, and a huge fan of that. And John, before we let you go, I got to ask you about some of the art you've done. Again, it's available. You can check it out on your website, johnwaiteworldwide.com. But where did you, I always say there's something about creative people. There's something about a talent that you have that, maybe it's music, maybe it's art, maybe it's acting, but for you, to be able to kind of combine that with the music. Where did you kind of find your inner artist, and when did you realize that was a passion for you?
Well, I went to art school in Lancaster, England, my hometown, for 4 years. I got a diploma. I was going to be a painter and I was going to be an illustrator. And it just didn't pan out. I joined a group, probably when I was about 14. I was in my first band. But when I was at art school, about 17, I formed a band. And I got drawn towards music. It was faster. I could do what I wanted with music faster than with art. But with the new release, Wooden Heart, hang on, I got it here somewhere. Look.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me show you this.
There it is.
This is the cover.
Yes.
This is the original artwork. But I was drawing this thing because we sell them on the internet, like it's an autographed self-portrait, really. But I looked at that and thought it's time to go back in the studio and add to Wooden Heart. And that's why there's 3 CDs on Wooden Heart, and that's why we're having this conversation, really. Yeah, but I mean, I've always painted. I like the arts. You know, I read a lot and stuff. And then I get on stage and it's rock and roll. But you know, whatever. It's a great life. I've been very, very lucky, and I've met some great people, played some great shows, and I love it.
Well, the Wooden Heart Acoustic Anthology, the complete recordings, volumes 1, 2, and 3. It's available now. It's on anywhere you can get it. I'm getting it on Amazon Music right now. So check it out anywhere. It's just a great anthology of the career, and obviously the new single and things like that. But you said you're ready for this next album. I mean, this was obviously a labor of love for you in many ways.
Yeah.
So as we move on to the next, kind of what's the headspace as you're moving on, and what can you tell us about this new one?
Well, it's there's a cassette player I have from Radio Shack, and for the last few years, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and sing something into it, or I play into it at 6 a.m, 6 at night, whenever. And there's all these songs on there, so I decided to record them, like just pull them apart, and it wouldn't, probably when I'm finished with it, I'll just throw the cassette into the fire. It's been like ghosting my life. So I decided about a month ago to go in the studio and start recording everything that's on that cassette with a band and try and see what's there. And I was there yesterday in the studio. We're working a few days a week. I'll leave for the road on Friday for like 2.5 weeks.
Right.
But the moment I come back, I'm going straight back in the studio. But the songs are so far ranging now. I mean, there's like acoustic songs, hard rock songs, melodic songs, songs with me with just a guitar. I mean, it's all over the place. And I'm digging that. The albums I've made, I think in the past have been, pretty varied in the content. But this time round, it's kind of no holds barred. It's like, I just want to have fun with it. And the best songs are going to be on the album. It doesn't matter if they hang together. They're going to hang together in some way because it's from me. But I'm not going to think twice. I'm going to just react and go and then release it. It should be out in about 6 months.
Wonderful. Absolutely cannot wait for that, John. You're just tremendous. You look great. Ready to hit the road. It's going to be tremendous. Can't wait to catch you out there somewhere out there in the ethos here in America somewhere. Gonna make that happen. Thank you so much for being a part of On the Road to Rock. It's a huge pleasure for me, sir. So continued success.
God bless you. I enjoyed the questions, and it was a great way to wake up. I had a good time. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thanks, John. Take care.
God bless. Bye-bye.